Ladies and gentlemen, this is your AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday, July 15th, 2021. It's the 14th. I'm sorry. July 14th, 2021. Tonight we had Fighter Fest night number 1, which is headlined by the match graphic you see in my background, Darby Allin and Ethan Page in AEW's first ever Coffin match. Man, I cannot wait to talk about that match. I mean, that match was absolutely insane, man. An insane main event. This show was once again amazing, just like Road Rager last week, man. Wesley, it feels like AEW's picking up right where they left off before the COVID-19 hit. Man,
Oh,
how are you? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing amazing, man. I got the ponytail up. The ponytail's making the big debut right here on the Big Fight Field channel. I'm ready to talk about AEW Fighter Fest Night 1. What an amazing show all around tonight. AEW is back in full swing, folks. Whether you love it, whether you hate it. I'm sure a lot of you, though, love to see it, and I sure love to see it, and Joseph sure loves to see it. AEW's back in full swing. We got the crowds back. Man, that Texas crowd tonight, you guys really brought it, man. You Texas folk. You brought it tonight, and I couldn't be more proud of you guys, man. What a show. What a main event. I mean, Joseph, we got so much to talk about, man. Let's just get right into it.
You know, these 2 hours flew by so fast tonight. It felt like it went faster than last week. Last week was pretty fast, and last week was a great show as well. But man, there was just something about this show going into it. A sold out crowd. This show was sold out before a match was even announced for this show. Is that crazy, dude?
It's wild, man. I mean, and looking at the ticket sales for the Arthur Ashe Stadium for September 22nd, man, those ticket sales are looking mighty fine right now. I must say, man, that's a bigger play. That's a way bigger place than the arena they were in tonight in Texas, man. And I love to see it. I love to see wrestling fans coming together and supporting the true best promotion in all pro wrestling. That is All Elite Wrestling, man. Sold out crowd, 5,000 people, I believe, were in the arena tonight, man. You could feel it. You could feel that energy, and I love that energy. I miss that energy so much, man. And we're back to where we were pre-COVID-19, man. It is just so lovely to see AEW, like I said, back in full swing, and they're just gonna keep delivering the hits each and every single week.
Before we get into Fighter Fest, I don't know if I brung it up before, but you know it sucks. I go away for college in like a month and a half, maybe a month and maybe like 6 weeks. And AEW, right after I go away for college, they are doing this big East Coast tour, man. I'm like, are you like really? Like they're gonna be in New Jersey September 15th, and I won't be home for that. And then they'll be at Arthur Ashe. I don't think I would have made the trip for Arthur Ashe, to be honest with you, because it's a far trip for me. But I would have done the New Jersey show, and I would have done the Philly show on October 6th. And it just sucks that I'm gonna miss both of those shows, but it's whatever, I guess. I'm crossing my fingers. Someone in AEW, if you're listening, please come to Orlando, Florida. Please come to Orlando, Florida before the end of the year, man. Or make another trip to Miami. Make another trip to Miami, and then this time I'll be there. Hopefully, I'm not sure, but man, I mean, there's just so much to talk about tonight, dude. We might as well just get into it, shall we?
Oh yeah, man. Let's talk about Fighter Fest Night 1. Let's get it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Before we get into the review, make sure you guys go check out this week's Monday Night Raw and NXT reviews. Both of them are available on the channel right now. Man, let's get started. The show started off tonight. The crowd was chanting AEW, AEW, AEW. And man, right from the get-go, I'm like, oh shit, this crowd's gonna be awesome tonight. And then the freaking first guy that comes out is Jon Moxley, and I'm like, oh my god, this crowd's going crazy already. So we started the show with Jon Moxley and Carl Anderson for the IWGP United States Championship. Good match that went about 10 minutes. Eddie Kingston chased out Luke Gallows in the beginning when they were brawling. Moxley and Anderson, back and forth match. I saw a couple people say that Carl Anderson should win that match. I think that did not really much. I didn't really think that made sense. But Moxley wins, of course, with the paradigm shift to Carl Anderson, and he retains the IWGP US Championship. So, I thought this was a good match to open up the show tonight, man. What do you think?
Yeah, very good open to the show. I'm happy to see Carl Anderson get some shine in singles competition with Jon Moxley. I mean, a great way to just open the show. I mean, Jon Moxley, of course, one of the most over guys in all of pro wrestling, and this is his big return back after being absent for the past month, ever since he lost the tag team match with Eddie Kingston against the Young Bucks, and he took some time away to go be a father to his newborn child with Renee Paquette. Congratulations again to both of them. But Jon Moxley, Carl Anderson, really good match here. Moxley retains, right decision there. And we got another big announcement concerning that very championship next week for AEW Fighter Fest Night 2, as Lance Archer would come on after that match and challenge Jon Moxley to the same match they fought for that very title at the Tokyo Dome right before the pandemic in January of 2020, Texas Death Match. And Jon Moxley later on the night granted that wish to Lance Archer. So next week, Moxley and Archer, a IWGP United States Championship in the Texas Death Match. And I'm going to go ahead and get my prediction out there for next week, early prediction. I'm going to go ahead and say that Lance Archer picks up the win, becomes the new IWGP US Championship. I feel like since he lost that last match that they had in the Tokyo Dome, I feel like Archer is due a win here. And I feel like Moxley dropping the title to Archer is not a bad thing. I feel like Moxley's still going to be Moxley. I don't think Moxley's going to lose anything out of dropping the title to Archer. I feel like Archer could really use the big momentum shift here, big win here, since Archer's kind of come up short in a lot of different occasions so far in AEW. And this isn't an AEW title either. It's a New Japan title. And I feel like Archer holding it would not be a bad thing, becoming a two-time United States champion. So we shall see what happens. But that's my early prediction for next week. It should be great. I love the last Texas Death Match they did in the Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom. And this one here on AEW territory should be no different.
The only reason he's saying that is because he actually met Lance Archer last week, and that's the only reason why he's picking Lance Archer in that match.
I mean, it's not only that. I mean, I did meet him. I did get a picture with him. Go follow me on Twitter to find that very beautiful picture that I got to take with him back on Sunday here in Memphis. But I am saying that just logically standing, though, I do honestly believe Archer should get a big win here. But yes, I did meet him back on Sunday, and you can't see it in the back, but I do have a signed poster from him. It says "To Wesley" on it. I freaking love it. I have it hung up loud and proud here in my room, and definitely one of my most prized possessions up to this point. But Lance Archer, I know you're probably not watching this podcast, but thank you so much for the hospitality. Thank you for not killing me and my dad and our friend back on Sunday. But yeah, thank you so much for showing up here in good old Memphis right here, Memphis, Tennessee. So, but yeah, that's my early prediction for next week. Lance Archer going over Jon Moxley, I feel like would be the best decision.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. I probably think Moxley's going to win. But, man, this guy could use all the momentum he could possibly get because this guy's came up short big match after big match. I think the only matches he's lost were title matches. He lost the Cody TNT title. He had that one. Didn't he face Moxley for the world title?
Yeah, he did.
Yep. He had that one match with Moxley for the world title in a no DQ match, which he lost. And then he recently just lost to Miro at Double or Nothing, which is a pretty disappointing match, I think. So, this guy, he can really use this win here, man. And Moxley, you said it best, dude. Moxley is Moxley. He's gonna be okay no matter what. But man, I feel like Lance Archer is absolutely. I don't want to use the word directionless, but he feels lost in the shuffle, if you know what I mean. And I really feel like a big win next week. Aren't they in Texas again?
They are in Texas again.
They're in Dallas, Texas next week. So I feel like a win in his home state could do great for Lance Archer and kind of get that momentum that that he really needs because he's falling off the cliff fast, and I that's not a good thing at all, man. So I hope you're right in saying Archer's going to win, but I'm going to take Moxley with this one. So moving on, we had Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage for the FTW World Championship. My man, I'm going to give it to you, but my God, the MVP of this match was the Austin crowd. No question.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the match, I will admit, started off a bit rough between Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. It seemed like they weren't hitting their stride just yet. But once we got later into the match, that's when things really started to come into effect for both Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. And like you said, man, the Austin crowd tonight became unglued for Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is obviously the heel in this situation with Cage being the baby face in the match. But, I mean, the crowd was letting Cage hear it, man. They didn't want to cheer Cage. I mean, and this is Ricky Stark's home state of Texas, so I think it's pretty natural that he would get a babyface reaction. But, man, this crowd became unglued for Ricky Starks. And the second that he got that spear in on Cage and he won that FTW title from Brian Cage, I mean, the crowd was electric, man. I love to see it. It was so thunderous. I mentioned on Twitter it was a very thunderous roar from the crowd, and I love that, man. I'm so happy for Ricky Starks because I'm a big fan of Ricky Starks. I think he is such a great mic talker, and he's such a great promo, great in-ring worker. I mean, he has all the potential to become a major star for AEW in the future. I mean, he's one of the brightest young stars they have there, and we all clearly saw in the match that Powerhouse Hobbs did help Ricky Starks win the FTW title, and Brian Cage not looking so happy right now with Team Taz. Looks like he's officially out of Team FTW, and we shall see what happens. I have a feeling we could get a Hobbs versus Cage match still. Maybe it all out. We're out to see. But I think Hobbs versus Cage is probably what's next because Cage ain't done with Team FTW, that's for sure. And it looks like he's officially out, and it looks like we're going to get to see the Machine Brian Cage on his own as a babyface. Should be interesting to see, but very happy for Ricky Starks. He is the FTW champion, and man, again, that crowd, awesome crowd, definitely the MVPs of this entire match. Like you said, Joseph, it was awesome to see.
I'm just gonna get to the end of the match here. This match is good, just like the opening match. I thought it was a good match, but the ending was freaking amazing. The crowd made it that much better. If this was in Daly's place, I would be like, yeah, this was a good moment. But the crowd made the moment go from like a 7 to a freaking 9.5, 10. That's how loud they were. So Hook was actually distracting the referee, and then Brian Cage is going for the his spinning elbow. Hobbs gets up on the apron. He hits Brian Cage with the FTW title because earlier in the match, Ricky Starks was going to use the FTW title, and Hobbs grabs him. He's like, "No, I'm not letting you use it." But you know, it was their plan. This was their plan all along. And Hobbs hits Cage with the FTW title. Ricky Starks hits a clean ass spear on Brian Cage. I mean, that thing was clean. And he pinned Brian Cage to a massive, like you said it best, a thunderous roar inside the Herb Center. And then Taz was not speaking toward the end of the match. And then at the end of the match, Taz goes on commentary and he says, "I love it." And then he congratulates Starks. So clearly, his main man is absolute Ricky Starks, and it feels like he's the new leader of Team Taz now. With Taz, of course. But I love it. Do you think that the crowd is not going to accept Brian Cage as a babyface because Ricky Starks has so much charisma? And I'm not just talking about this crowd. I'm talking about, when they go to North Carolina or back to Daly's with a full crowd, or they go to Chicago. So I feel like Ricky Starks is going to be cheered over Brian Cage.
Oh, it's interesting. I think time will definitely tell. It is probably going to be pretty weird for people to see Brian Cage as a babyface because he was doing pretty well for himself as a heel. He just kind of has that more heel look to him as well. But we'll have to see. But yeah, Ricky Starks, I mean, he's just so charismatic. That might be the factor into people probably liking Starks a little bit more than Cage. But time will definitely tell. Hopefully, it's a good run for Brian Cage as a babyface. But clearly the crowd tonight wasn't for Cage at all. They were all for Starks, and I mean, I can't say I really blame them, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully, it's not anything bad for Brian Cage in the long run.
Absolutely. And then after this, this segment was freaking fantastic. This thing was short and simple. Cody comes out, no theme music. He's yelling into the commentary headset, and he then grabs the microphone and he says, "This is FYTER. Tonight I'm here to fight. Tommy Ed, Malachi Black, wherever you are, get your ass out here right now." And then Malachi actually appears on the PA system, and he cuts his promo, and he even acknowledges the crowd booing Cody. Because, Cody did get a little bit of booze tonight. I'm not going to lie. He actually did. And he said, last week, that crowd cheered for me and not you. You know why? Because they love violence. So, I mean, if that's not a shoot, I mean, I don't know what is. Because he's right. Do you see anybody cheering for Cody Rhodes over Malachi Black in this feud?
No, absolutely not. I feel like with this feud, I feel like once they have their eventual match, which it should be at All Out, I imagine, I feel like this could be the catalyst to turn Cody officially heel. I feel like people have been kind of calling for it for a while, because I think people are kind of over the whole babyface Cody Rhodes. I think people are kind of past it at this point. I think they're ready to see Cody just do something different with his character. And I mean, the match itself. I mean, this story. I mean, we're only the second week into this feud.
The story. I don't mean to cut you off,
Yeah,
but the story is great, and the story is so simple because when Malachi comes out, okay, Cody Rhodes is wearing white. He's wearing all white, and Malachi's wearing all black. I mean, how simple and how brilliant could you get right there?
I mean, this right here, Malachi Black is already made into a made. He's already a made man already. This by the second week of him being on AEW television in this big program with Cody Rhodes, he's already a made man, and it's amazing to see. And I mean, this is already one of the best feuds going in this entire company and all pro wrestling, really. And we're just 2 weeks into this whole feud with Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black. I mean, this segment was absolute gold. This is by far one of the best segments of the entire show. And man, I can't wait for this eventual match with Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And for the people worried that Cody is going to go over, Cody's putting Black over. I can already tell you firsthand, Cody's putting Malachi Black over. They didn't bring him into the company for him to lose his first feud. Malachi Black is getting put over. He's going to get put over in a massive way. I mean, who better to start a feud with than Cody Rhodes? I mean, really. I mean, this is a great first feud for him. And man, it's so great to see Malachi Black in an environment where he can be creatively free. He can show off this new character of his, and it's already got me so pumped, man. It's gonna be so amazing to see these guys lock up.
Good versus evil, man. I love it. It's simple. It's straight to the point, man. And I feel like Malachi Black is that type of character who can turn you. Kind of like The Fiend in WWE when he turned Seth Rollins into a heel. And when he sent Finn Balor back to NXT. I think he's going to be that type of character. And I think that's a good role for him. Now, I have a question. Do you think they're going to hold out his debut all the way until All Out? Because I actually was thinking about this, and I don't know if you would agree with me or not, but the perfect man, I think, with his feud with Cody Rhodes, the perfect guy, I think, to have Malachi Black make his first match against is Brock Anderson. I think that's a perfect debut match. Just have him go out there and beat the shit out of Arn Anderson's son. I think that would be the best way to go. Maybe they could do that. They could do that debut match whenever they want. But I would have Malachi Black in a match against Brock Anderson, and I would have him beat the living hell out of Brock Anderson.
I like that. I like that. We'll see what happens. I mean, I wouldn't mind it either if they held out Black until All Out. You know, just really build up that big debut match in AEW. But I love that idea though of him going 1-on-1 with Brock Anderson. You know, he already took out Arn, and that really pissed off Cody, and it really got lit a fire underneath them. I feel like, you know, got Malachi Black coming out and just beating the ever living daylights out of Brock Anderson. Brock Anderson probably getting little to no offense in on Black. Black's just completely destroying this guy. I mean, I feel like it would be a great way to build him up more, make him look more of a badass and just this dark, broody character. I think that would really go over well. So I wouldn't mind. I think that would be a really solid idea. We'll have to see what happens, but yeah, I agree. I think that would be a great first opponent for Black.
Man, I know I'm about to piss some people off, but these last 2 weeks, Malachi Black he's looked better in 2 weeks with Cody Rhodes than he has um his entire main roster run. So there you go. I'm saying facts, right, bro?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I don't watch the main roster, as you know, but I mean, I can already tell you, you're telling the truth there, because I already know what they did do with Black on the main roster, and how they just did not put him in any important programs whatsoever. They really did. He was just there, and I mean, they didn't do anything significant with him. You know, they took out his eye and everything, and the whole feud with Seth Rollins, and you know, they just didn't transition him into anything that could have been really significant for him, really big for him. I mean, you know, people talking about him possibly fighting Reigns for the Universal title or something, but you know, it's just they just, it clearly goes to show you that the main roster didn't know how to handle a guy like Black, and I don't know how in the world you look at a guy like Malachi Black and you don't know what to do with him. It really, I mean, look at AEW and the way they've already portrayed this guy in 2 weeks. It took. I mean, it really took 1 week really to get him really over, but now we got here week 2. He is one of the most over guys in pro wrestling, not just in AEW. That people were talking all over the internet about Malachi Black's debut last week in AEW. It drew a ton of numbers on YouTube. I mean, it's like it goes to
views.
Over a million. I mean, and you know, when a company like AEW gets on views like that and gets people talking that much about Malachi Black, I mean, it goes to show you they know what they're doing, and they're doing the right thing with Malachi Black. I wouldn't book him any better than this. I mean, this is already on such a great momentum swing right now, and just keep riding that momentum with Malachi Black, man. It's amazing how AEW just makes WWE look like amateurs, the way they're booking guys like Malachi Black who were so misused in WWE on the main roster. And here we are, week 2, like I said, and this dude's literally one of the most over guys in all of pro wrestling. But people can't stop talking about him, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, man. This guy comes into AEW. His first feud is with, I mean, literally the face of, if you really think about it, like realistically, for the way things are going on television, Kenny Omega's the face of AEW. But backstage and big name wise, Cody Rhodes is the face of AEW. Cody Rhodes is one of the biggest names in AEW. And the fact that he's in this big time feud with Cody as his first feud says a lot about how AEW views this guy. And who was Tommy End's biggest feud in WWE with? Kevin Owens, Cesaro. I don't, no disrespect to those guys, but Kevin Owens and Cesaro are not main event guys in WWE's eyes. They should be, but they're not. But I just had to bring that up, man. You know,
Yeah.
pretty interesting point. So
Yeah.
we got to move on now. This was my favorite thing of the entire night. Once again, like the FTW title match, I'm gonna give it to you first. Break down the segment for the people and give your thoughts on the entire situation between the Elite and the Dark Order.
Well, as we saw Shivani come out, introduce Hangman Page to the ring, and Hangman Page asked him about the world title situation. And Page, it looks like he's wanting that AEW world title shot. But before he could finish, of course, Mr. Don Callis makes an appearance to a sea of boos from the Texas crowd. You love to see it. I mean, you just love to see it. And of course, the Young Bucks and the Elite dressing like absolute goons. They look like morons. It's so freaking great. I love every outfit change, every wardrobe change, every like facial hair change. they do, it's just amazing to watch. I love every week. It's just something different. But they come out, they berate Hangman. Matt Jackson taunting Hangman in the ring, telling me, you don't have the balls to punch me. You're just afraid. You can't do it. And then Page clocks him in the mouth. And then this causes the Elite to corner Page. And it looks like Omega's about to get that cheap shot in with the title. But then, of course, Dark Order come out and they even the odds. And so we see the big challenge being made here. 5-on-5 elimination match. Not sure when it's going to happen yet. They never said a date. I can only expect maybe Fight for the Fallen. I imagine they're probably going to book it for Fight for the Fallen at the end of July. But we got a 5-on-5 elimination match here with the Dark Order and the Elite. And Omega tells Page, or I think Page ends up telling Omega and the boys that if Page and the Dark Order win, then Page will get a shot at the world title against Kenny Omega. And then two members of the Dark Order will face the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And I imagine those two will probably be Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. I mean, they're the top tag team in that entire group. So it would make the most sense for Uno and Grayson to get the shot. And man, what a match that would freaking be. And then Omega tells Page that if he loses, if him and the Dark Order lose, then Page and the Dark Order cannot challenge for the world title or the tag team titles, and that Page should just walk away and just leave it all behind. And so Page accepts the challenge. And so here we are, man. 5-on-5 elimination tag team match set up. Like I mentioned, it's probably going to be announced for Fight for the Fallen. They didn't announce it for night 2 of Fyter Fest, so I imagine it'll be called for Fight for the Fallen. It should be a really fun match there. And man, this segment by far was amazing. I mean, the promo work from both Hangman and from Omega, and with the Bucks just berating Hangman and Don Callis being the heel manager that he is. I mean, this storyline's one of the best things going in AEW. I mean, this storyline's been building for so long too. When you think about how far back it really goes with the Elite and with Hangman and with Dark Order now involved. I mean, AEW knows how to tell a story in such an amazing way, man. They pay so much attention to detail. It's just the storytelling is just, it's unbelievable. I mean, not just with this storyline, with Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes, like we talked about. I mean, with all these other storylines happening, it's like, AEW knows how to make you care about certain wrestlers and a certain storyline. And I mean, you heard the pop that Page got tonight, one of the biggest pops of the night, man. The cowboy shit chants. I mean, this is how you build up stars. This is how you build up feuds. This is how you build up storylines. And it's wrestling 101, and I love to see it.
You're damn right. It's wrestling 101. Tongue twister right there. But the main thing I got out of all of this is, how much this is benefiting the Dark Order. The Dark Order, they feel like a big deal now, and I would have absolutely no problem with them challenging the Young Bucks for the tag team championships. I don't know if that's going to be a match at All Out. It could be, but I don't know. I don't see the Dark Order taking the tag titles off the Young Bucks. I don't think, as over as they are and popular and everybody loves the Dark Order, I don't see them being the ones to take the title off the Young Bucks. But it's just really benefiting them. Obviously, Page is getting Daniel Bryan-like momentum with this storyline with the Elite. You could tell everybody hates the Elite and everybody loves Hangman Page, and that's what they want. And man, this is probably my favorite thing in wrestling right now, to be honest. This storyline is just, I told you 2 weeks ago, folks. Buckle your seatbelts because the ride is just about to start. And so far, man, we're 2 weeks in, and the ride has been it's been great so far, man.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, I just can't wait to see this story continue to unfold going into All Out and seeing what happens there. But I'm looking forward to this 5-on-5 elimination match. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Who knows? Maybe a swerve could be done, and we could see Page and Dark Order losing. Who knows? I mean, you can go maybe a few different ways with this storyline, but it's going to be fun to watch, man, guaranteed. And I mean, I'm just in it for the long haul.
So yeah, that was probably my favorite thing of the night. Probably the Coffin match, but this was definitely second. But really quick before we move on to Matt Hardy and Christian Cage, did you see the new TNT Championship?
I did. That looked lovely. I like. It seems like AEW is going the route of like whoever holds the TNT title gets kind of their own little look to it. I like that. I like that it like it gives them it gives the title a bit more of a personality in a way, even though it's an inanimate object. Obviously, it gives it more of a just a bigger personality to it. I love the fact that Miro is just repping the white TNT Championship. Now it looks really good. I think AEW did a solid job of designing that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is what we'll see with every AEW TNT champion, but we saw Darby, get a new one, and then the one before it was dedicated to the legacy of Brody Lee. And so Darby got a new title, and then now we got Miro with a new title. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be a continuing theme with the TNT Championship, but I really like it. I think it's a nice look on Miro.
Yeah, I'm looking at the title now. The title is all white. The symbol champion is highlighted in green. The title is it has all Bulgarian colors. And I don't know if you pointed it out, but you know how Miro is doing the whole God's favorite champion thing? There's actually a symbol of God on the TNT Championship.
I love it. I love it so much, man. Miro he continues to be one of the greatest things in pro wrestling, man. I mean, they have it's amazing how much of a 180 was pulled with him compared to when he first started. Man, it really is remarkable. I mean, he is so great in this God's favorite champion role. I mean, that one line that he said tonight was there was this man, he was hot too, but he was lost. I loved that line from them. It was just he said it so quick, but it was so straightforward and to the point. I just the way he delivered the line was so great. I mean, Miro is awesome, and Miro has really just hit his full stride in AEW, and I hope he continues to have a big reign as a TNT champion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've said it a bunch of times. This guy, he should not be dropping that title until next year. I think we all know that by now. But moving on, we had Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. I got to tell you the truth, man. I really had a hard time not really caring about this match going into it, but at the end of it, they had a very good match. It was a very good match for what they did at their age, and the crowd was into it. Christian Cage was really over. I thought he got it. I thought Christian Cage was pretty over tonight. I thought Matt Hardy was going to get the window, man, when he did the low blow and he hit the twist of fate. I'm like, oh, that's it. And then, um, excuse me, catching my breath there, but he hits him with the low blow. He hits the twist of fate, and then he kicked out, and I was like, I was shocked that he kicked out from that, and the crowd got a big pop from it. Then he puts a submission hold into Christian Cage on the outside, and Christian Cage barely gets in at 9. He comes in, boom, kill switch, and Christian gets the win, man. He gets the win over Matt Hardy in a very good match. After the match, Private Party and Angelico come out to try to set up Christian for an attack, but out came Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy for the save. Then Luchasaurus actually put Christian on his shoulders, and you know, I'm just waiting for this turn to come any day now, any week now. I think we all know it's going to happen. It's for the best, and when it happens, I think it's going to be a great moment. And this is going to be a good thing for Jungle Boy, man. But as for Christian and Hardy, very good match, I thought. Very good match. It definitely exceeded my expectations. What you think?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this was a match was better than I initially thought it was going to be. There was no sloppiness to it. I mean, for guys who are in their mid to late 40s, I mean, these two can still go at such a great high level, and it was really cool to see. Christian Cage picks up the win here. But yeah, it looks like we could be heading down that route of Cage versus Jungle Boy, and I am guessing it'll probably happen at All Out. We just gotta wait for that turn to happen. But very good match. Cage and Hardy really got the crowd invested in this match, even though it was a match going into it wasn't really the built the best. I don't think a lot of people really cared about this feud going into it, but it was very good for what it was. And Cage picks up the win, and so yeah, we'll see where this continues to go for Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. But I imagine we're going to get the eventual match between those two guys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Next, we had everybody's favorite women's wrestler, Britt Baker, DMD. She came out. She cut a short promo. This was the final sell before next week's match with Nyla Rose, and I don't really remember what she said in her promo, but she was basically getting it over, and the crowd was into it. This she's coming off like a baby face, man. Do you think that's a good thing or no?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. That she's just so good at her job. She's so good at her job that like people just love her so much. People have gravitated so much towards her. I don't know if I want to say she's full fledged babyface, because this is such a weird feud. Because I still consider her a heel, and Nyla Rose is a heel, and so we got their match next week for the women's title. It should be a good match, but I mean, I kind of wish they had a different opponent other than Nyla Rose as her first opponent. I mean, I don't know why you would pit her against a heel, another heel, since Britt. But I'm hoping they're not going down full fledged babyface route with Baker, because she's just so great as a heel. She's much better as a heel. I mean, we've already seen how she really wasn't doing much as a babyface beforehand. Then she turned heel, and now look at all this momentum she's gained for herself after being a heel. But man, I can't lie to you when I say that the when she says the letters DMD in front of a full crowd, it is so amazing to hear. I can't imagine how it must feel hearing that live in person, but hearing it through the television screen, it is so loud and powerful. It is amazing. I mean, Britt Baker is so beloved and so like she just is so loved by so many AEW fans, and so I don't know. I mean, I personally don't want her to turn back into a babyface. I think she's just great as a heel. I hope when she moves on from this match with Nyla Rose next week, which I'm pretty sure we all know that Britt Baker's winning next week. She's not dropping that title to Nyla Rose. Should be a good match, but she ain't dropping that title. Hopefully they'll move her into a program that people can kind of sink their teeth into a little more, because really they haven't done a great job to build up this match. I mean, that the tag match they had with Vicky and Rebel there, it didn't go over well, and Rebel unfortunately got legit hurt after it. But so we'll see what goes on. But yeah, I'm hoping they keep Baker as a heel.
You know, I really know I don't know where who was I thinking about? Um, Ty Conti. I don't really know where she's been lately. I don't watch Elevation or I don't watch Dark, but I cannot remember the last time she was even on a Dynamite, and she would have been the perfect first opponent for Britt Baker, I think. I think they didn't drop the ball, but I really think they missed out on having Ty Conti be the first challenger. I think it should have been her out of anybody. So, I I mean, can you see her as the next challenger? Maybe.
I can see it. I believe she's either like number 2 or number 3 in the women's rankings right now. So she's high up. I catch up on Elevation Dark every week, and so she's been picking up a lot of wins for herself on those shows. So I think they could possibly be building her up for Britt Baker's next challenge, which I would not mind at all, because I've really loved Ty Conti. I think she's improved so much compared to when she first started. She's definitely one of the most over women in the company too. I mean, a lot of people love Ty Conti. I don't know who doesn't like Ty Conti, So
Low.
yeah, right, yeah. So I think that's probably could be what's next. Since she's pretty high up in the rankings, I could see that being Britt's next challenge, which should be a really solid match if that does end up happening.
I mean, listen, I ain't no simp over here, okay? But Ty Conti's a good-looking woman, okay? I have to acknowledge that, and if I don't, I'm an idiot. So.
I mean, Ty Conti's beautiful, man. You have to be a blind fool to not think Ty Conti is a beautiful woman. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I hope it's her versus Brett at All Out. I don't think it's either gonna be that or Statlander, because I feel like they're really pushing her with Orange Cassidy, and she's really getting over. And man, like having her with Orange Cassidy, having her coming out with Orange Cassidy is going to be the piece that she needs to get herself really over, because I feel like Orange Cassidy being there is the reason she actually is over.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's still some love for her, the character herself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But Orange Cassidy, I agree. Orange Cassidy definitely is like bringing her her overness and like her popularity to another level, because Orange Cassidy, as we all know, is one of the most popular guys in AEW. And so having him aligned with the best friend, having her aligned with the best friend in Orange Cassidy, it's it only makes sense for Chris Statlander to benefit from it, in the end of it.
Absolutely, man. So, at the end of the day, we all know Britt Baker's not dropping the title next week. It just really depends for me who's next. Is it Ty Conti? Is it Chris Statlander? Is it Thunder Rosa? I don't know. She's another one that could possibly be challenging Britt Baker. Can you see her being Britt's next challenger?
I think it'd be too early to do Rosa and Baker. I feel like that's something you want to build up in a longer term. I think that's something maybe you could book for possibly Revolution. Maybe that because Revolution is I think Revolution could be like probably the perfect destination to do that. Just drag it out a little longer, because I feel like if Thunder Rosa is Britt's next challenger, they're kind of pulling the trigger too early on reigniting that feud. So I feel like that's something you want to build up longer term. And Rosa could very well be one of the top contenders to take that title off Baker, revisiting that feud again, just like how Shida and Baker revisited their feud from before, only for the women's title, and we saw how that went for Baker in the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we are going to move on here. We had the debuting Wheeler Yuta, who came out with Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. You know what I appreciate that Tony Schiavone said this guy's background. He's been wrestling for a very long time. That he said he's been wrestling before AEW existed, and he said that he was. I think he said he was trained by Chuck Taylor and Trent, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I can't remember exactly, but if that is the case, that's super cool. I know one fact about him that he used to wrestle in Chikara. I know that's where like guys like Eddie Kingston, Cesaro, and Brody Lee, they wrestled all of Chikara. I think Sami Zayn even did some work in Chikara as well. So a lot of big time pro wrestlers came from that promotion. So I remember that was one thing that Excalibur brought up. I think it was one of the matches on Dark that Wheeler Yuta had.
Okay. But I appreciate that they said his background information. That's it's the little things that puts AEW over the edge on WWE. And I'm not trying to be negative Nancy over here. I'm just telling the truth again. But man, this match was all about Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara, he had to have the loudest pop of the night, I think, man. This guy got a massive ovation when he came out to the Texas crowd, and match went 6 minutes. Pretty good for what it was. Sammy Guevara looked outstanding tonight. He did not mess up a single thing. Wheeler looked pretty good with him as well. And so Guevara hits a beautiful springboard cutter into the what's his finisher that he calls it, the GTA?
He calls it what does he call it? I can't remember. I know it's a modification of the GTS. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's pretty much like a Dominic Dijakovic's finisher in WWE. Like it's just a modified go to sleep, but it's such a beautiful move every time Sammy Guevara hits it.
But Sammy G gets the win, man, and Sammy G gets some momentum for himself. So, thoughts on the match?
Very fun. I think for the match, as quick as it went, I thought it was very fun. I thought Wheeler Yuta got to have a good showcase with one of the biggest baby faces in the company, and Sammy Guevara. And like you said, man, that pop might have been the loudest pop of the night from the Texas crowd. I mean, it is his home state. We got another hometown boy tonight, not just Ricky Starks, but Sammy Guevara as well. Man, and again, it's amazing to see so much new talent get built up in this company, and it's only going to be up from here for these guys.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to see where Sammy goes from here. But then we had the women's match with Penelope Ford and Yuka Sakazaki. Really did not care about this. I don't mean to be perfectly rude, but really there was no care going into this match right before the Coffin match. But Yuka was actually over. She was very over. I like Yuka. She's very good. She's charismatic. So glad she's back. But we need to start seeing the Hikaru Shidas and the Thunder Rosas and the Ty Conti, and who else? Am I missing any names that hasn't been featured lately? We've
I
seen
remember.
Statlander a lot.
Yeah.
Anna Jay's hurt, so but I mean, decent match, I guess. I don't really have much to say about it. Yuka got the win, and they just moved on after that.
It was a good match. I'm happy to see Yuka Sakazaki back. I honestly prefer her over Rio. That's just my personal take on it. I know a lot of people love Rio, but I think Sakazaki is just a little better than Rio. I like her character more, and clearly she was over in Texas tonight. Another big young star that was over. I thought the match was good for what it was. I didn't think it looked bad, but yeah, hopefully we'll start seeing more of the top women in the company showcase more. Yeah, Sheeta's been making a lot of appearances on Dark and Elevation, so they have been showcasing her on there with her new hairstyle and her new kind of. She has a bit of a new look to her now. But yeah, hopefully we'll start to see Sheeta and Thunder Rosa more on Dynamite, and hopefully I don't know what's going on with Serena Deeb. She's another person I'd like to see more on Dynamite again because a lot of people love Serena Deeb. She's definitely one of the most decorated women in the entire company. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, and hopefully some of these women will be built up for Britt Baker too, because I want to see important title feuds happening for the women's championship. You want to make the women be on that same level as the men, as like the world titles, the TNT title. You want to see that more and more, and I really want that for the women because they're really working their asses off every single week, whether it's Dark, Elevation. But hopefully we can see more of that on Dynamite as time goes on.
I I think I read yesterday that Serena Deeb's injured again.
Really?
I think she has a knee injury. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But
That's unfortunate.
yeah, I mean, hopefully she's back sooner rather than later.
Yep.
But I agree with everything you said. Next week is night 2 of Fighter Fest from Dallas, Texas. We have Lance Archer and John Moxley in a Texas death match for the IWGP United States Championship. I think that's probably going to be the main event next week. That's your big match. Um, Nyla Rose, Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship. Orange Cassidy versus the Blade. And I don't know if they said this is going to be next week, but earlier in the night, Chris Jericho got his first order of demand from MJF, as that he has to face Shawn Spears, and the stipulation is Shawn Spears can use a steel chair and Chris Jericho can't. So I don't know if that's happening next week, but that is going to happen. That's Jericho's first match is Shawn Spears. So there you go.
Yeah, that will be happening next week. They did announce that for night 2 of Fighter Fest, but that should be good. Yeah, they got a nice looking card. I will say that so far, I think night 1's card is better because I just feel like when you looked up and down this card tonight, I mean, like every match was like just stacked. It was. I think next week they got a good card set up, and I'm looking forward to it. But so far, in my opinion, I think night 1's card looks a little better. But I'm definitely looking forward to the Moxley Archer match next week. That's the one I'm most excited for.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I couldn't wait to talk about this one, dude. The main event, we had a coffin match. Really scary music in the beginning, and had 6 guys come out with a coffin, and it had roses on it, and it said something. I don't remember what it said, but I apologize. Ethan Page was first, who came out to booze. He came out by himself. He was not by himself during the match, though. But Darby Allin then came out. Of course, Darby Allin went right after Ethan Page, and he was going at it with Ethan Page. Darby opened up the casket, and in was Scorpio Sky. So Scorpio Sky is attacking Darby Allin. Sting comes up to attack Scorpio Sky, and they go right to commercial break. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. This like the first 2 minutes they go into commercial, but um, Sky and Page are brawling. Sting goes for Stinger splash, and I think they acted like he made it, but I think he missed. And then Scorpio Sky hit a splash onto him. Then you got Ethan Page and Darby Allin brawling out through the crowd during the commercial break. Um, Darby Allin jumps off a railing of steps because, of course, it's Darby Allin. And Ethan Page catches him and he throws him off and he throws him into the floor seats. So they are continuing to brawl. They're brawling outside. The lower turnbuckle pad and the lower rope is all off. It's taken off. Ethan Page takes the hook of the turnbuckle. He puts it on Darby Allin's chain and he yanks it. He yanks Darby Allin's chain off. Darby Allin then puts the hook into Ethan Page's mouth. That was, my God. Um, and then they're fighting in the casket. They're both standing in the casket. Ethan Page dumps Darby Allin over his head. Both guys are in the ring, and um, Darby hits his stunner on the Ethan Page. Ethan Page falls on the steps. Darby Allin's looking for the coffin drop, and Ethan Page catches him, and he gives him a razor's edge onto the stage. And I'm like, oh, poor Darby's back, man. I couldn't imagine. It hurt me watching it. But then the conclusion of the match. Didn't he hit a coffin drop and then roll Ethan in?
I believe no, he took the skateboard and he did a little thing that he does where he like does a little grind on the opponent's back. So that's what he did to get Page into the coffin, and he slammed it down. And then after the match is when Darby got up on that top rope, coffin drop. It was so beautiful to see. Coffin drop through the coffin onto Ethan Page. I mean, of course you got to do a coffin drop through the coffin. I mean, and that really kind of signified. I mentioned on Twitter, it signified that Darby Allin was the one who was the final nail in Ethan Page's coffin. And so I thought that was very poetic. This was an unbelievable match. I don't think you could have gotten a better main event than what these guys did tonight. I think they did just an absolute admirable job. I don't know how many more coffin matches we'll see in the future, but I hope this is definitely a matchup you can get to do in the AEW video game whenever that comes out. This and like I mentioned in I think previous before, like Stadium Stampede, I want to see all those match types in the game. But yeah, unbelievable main event. Darby Allin wins. I'm not upset about it. I think Ethan Page, it wouldn't have been a terrible idea to have him win, but I'm happy Darby was the one who won in the end. I feel like it kind of just makes the most sense for him to win the first ever coffin match in AEW history. But yeah, great ending the show. And the show going off the air with Darby chants. I mean, from the Austin crowd, I don't think you could have ended the show in a better way. And overall, man, AEW Fyter Fest Night 1, an absolute hit. This whole entire show flew by in the best way possible, just like pretty much every Dynamite episode is, man. It flows so freaking well. I mean, AEW has just really hit their stride, man, and it's only going to get better from here, man. I mean, we got so much to look forward to over the next couple months. I mean, with Rampage coming in August, and you got the All Out at the start of September, and you got the show and the Grand Slam Dynamite happening in Arthur Ashe Stadium. I mean, man, we're going to be in for some great content, and man, I can't wait to talk about it right here on Big Fight Field.
Absolutely, man. I mean, this is a coffin match. Darby Allin's type of coffin match. And there was no way he was going to lose the first ever coffin match. What I think should happen is just to get first off, just get out of the way. The feud's over. Ethan Page was talking to be the nail in Darby Allin's coffin while you said it was the reverse round. There's no way this feud continues. It's got to be over, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't see what else they could do after this. I believe we can finally move on from this feud. But I think this was such a great way to end this feud.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, freaking excellent main event. This was an excellent match, and I think this should be Darby Allin's special match, and you don't need to overkill it. You should not overkill it in every feud Darby Allin's in. Whenever it's necessary and there's a need to, where a Darby Allin feud is personal, you do the coffin match. I feel like this should be, you know, kind of like the fight pit in NXT when Like, don't you think that's a fair comparison?
Yeah, no, like the fight pit's another like stipulation that shouldn't be overdone. Like use it when it's absolutely necessary. Like when Thatcher and Matt Riddle feuded, it was necessary there. And I believe Thatcher had another one. Wasn't it against Ciampa? Was that the
Yeah.
next? Yeah. So that was when it was like necessary, and they're not overdoing it. And I don't. And AEW shouldn't do the same thing with the Coffin match, and I don't believe they will. I think they're very smart about their stipulations. They know not to overdo it. Unless we're talking about the Battle Royal, I think that's something that could be axed from the pay per views at least. I'm happy they don't overdo it on the shows, of course, but we don't see Battle Royals on the show. But I think that's a stipulation that I kind of would like to see go away for the pay per views and just do something different with that. But AEW knows what they're doing when it comes to gimmick matches. They don't overdo it. They do it when it's necessary.
Absolutely. One more thing before we get out of here. Where do you see Darby going next? I kind of don't know what he does at All Out. Does he go back and try to regain the TNT title from Miro? Does he feud with Sting? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they'll have something pretty big planned for him. I mean, hey, maybe if this whole storyline with Paige and Omega, maybe who knows? It could get delayed a little bit longer. Maybe they might be teasing us, for a little bit, and they might delay it a little bit longer. I think that ultimately they're going to pull the trigger, like get all out for Paige and Omega. But if maybe they delay it a little bit, maybe we get Darby and Omega for the world title all out. Maybe we'll see that. He is in the top 5 rankings right now, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I don't think they're going to delay Hangman Page, but say they do, I think Darby would be a good opponent for Kenny Omega. They could have a that would be an incredible match.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be a match of the year contender.
And it's pay-per-view worthy.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping they have something good planned. I'm sure they will. I think we'll be thoroughly entertained for whatever they choose to do with Darby.
At the end of the day, it's AEW and it's Darby Allin, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be good no matter what. But folks, we're getting out of here tonight. Thank you guys for watching the Fighter Fest night number 1 review here on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, man. We're kind of struggling on subscribers a little bit, so be sure. Got to pick up the subscribe number. Let's try to get the 420 before Money in the Bank on Sunday. I'd appreciate that. I'll send a link out probably tomorrow because we are going to do Money in the Bank predictions tomorrow night. We're going to do SmackDown review Friday night and then Money in the Bank on Sunday. We got AEW with full crowds now. It's freaking elevating those shows to a whole new level. WWE's getting their crowds back. I know you don't watch the main roster product, but are you happy they're getting their crowds back too?
Yeah. We'll have to see how it goes. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna let WWE hear it when the shows are awful still. Because I know the shows are still gonna be terrible even with crowds back. They didn't change anything when the pandemic started, and they had to do shows in the Thunderdome. So I don't see them doing the same thing when the crowds come back. But good for the fans that they come back and go into a live show and stuff. I know they've missed it a lot, but yeah, I mean, it's at least it'll be nice to let them go at WWE for the horrible booking now. So
Yeah, they're not in their little bubble anymore, man. They're going with the fans. So be sure to subscribe for those videos, though. Comment down below what you guys think of tonight's episode of Fighter Fest Night 1. We got Night 2 next Wednesday night, man. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from myself and Wesley Williams tonight's review. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Colin_Joseph. Wes, where could they follow you, man?
well, you already know, big_West18 on Twitter.com. That is BIG_WES18. I tweet about NXT. I tweet about AEW Dynamite, as you know. And a special announcement, make a big announcement right here. Impact is holding their Slammiversary pay-per-view this Saturday night with their first show with a live crowd since before the pandemic. And I will make this announcement here. I will be live tweeting for Impact Slammiversary pay-per-view. I will be watching this Saturday night on the Fight TV app. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter to hear the best and the honest scoops on everything pro wrestling, man. I tweet again, NXT Tuesdays, AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, trying to get back in the swing of things with Elevation at some point on Mondays. But this Saturday night, I will be tweeting about Impact Slammiversary. Should be a really good show. Main event, Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan for the Impact World Championship. And now announced in a no DQ match. Should be an absolute wild barn burner of a match. I cannot wait for that. Should be a good show. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.
Oh, there you go. Watching Slammiversary on Saturday night. Unfortunately, I will not be able to watch the show because I actually have a party to go to on Saturday. But you know what? I'm not mad. I'm actually pretty excited for this party. So it's going to be good. I got Money to Bank on Sunday anyway. And I have 5 days of I've had 5 days of work this week, so I'm gonna chill on Saturday and Sunday. But ladies and gentlemen, we just hit an hour and we're getting out of here. We will see you guys next Wednesday for the Fighter Fest Night 2 review, and I will see you tomorrow for Money in the Bank predictions here on the channel. You guys have a good night. Stay safe, and as always, man, stay classy.